there, welcome back to Coding with Drew. In this video, we're going to learn how do computers see the world around them. Imagine a weird scenario where you can communicate with a being from another dimension. They have no predefined concept of anything that you know or see on a daily basis, but they do share a common language. You have to describe to them what you see and do on a daily basis. This is exactly how it is with a computer. They're confined to another plane. They cannot experience the world around you. So how do we use a computer to describe a car buying application to a computer who's never driven or seen a car? The answer is that programmers create a very different kind of model using data. It's not as scary or as strange as it sounds because data is all computers need in order to follow instructions to perform tasks. If you could not see the car, the data in the information box alone would still let you know a ton about the car. So what is an object? An object is like a noun. It's a person, a place, or a thing. There can be many types of objects, from homes to people to browsers, websites, you name it. For simplicity, though, let's stick with the car. Each object can have its own properties, events, and methods. First, let's take a look at properties. Cars share common characteristics. They all have a make, model, color, engine size, and year that they were made. These characteristics are known as properties to programmers. Each one tells you something about the individual instance of the car object. The idea of key-value pairs is used in HTML and CSS, so this isn't really a new concept. In HTML, an attribute is like a property. Different attributes have different names, and each attribute can have a value. In CSS, you can change the color of a heading by creating a rule that makes the color property a specific hex value. You do this by providing the name of the attribute, such as color, followed by a specific value, such as hex value. In our world, we interact with objects. So to describe these in terms a computer or alien in some cases would understand, we'd need to describe these interactions as events. So what's an event? In a car, a driver will typically have two pedals, one to accelerate and one to speed up. So what does an event do? Programmers can use events to trigger functionality. For example, when the event break occurs, we can use functions to update the property of current speed from 60 miles per hour to 0 miles per hour. The function or script would then allow the programmer to describe what happens when the event is triggered. So, what is a method? Methods are things people need to do with objects. They typically get or update values of properties. These are like questions or instructions that tell you something about the object, and you can change one or more properties with the method. Methods are instructions that represent a task. So let's take a look at a web browser. Here you can see two objects. There's the window and the document object. The browser represents the window or an open tab using the window object. The location property of the window object will tell you the URL of the current page. The document object is the current web page loaded into the active window or tab. The document object represents an HTML page. Like other objects that represent real-world people, places, or things, the document object has properties, methods, and events. All major web browsers implement the document object the same exact way. This is how the same website works across browsers. The browser programmers have implemented properties that you can access to find out about the current page in the browser. They also provide written methods that achieve some common tasks that you'd want to. They also provide written methods that achieve some common tasks that you'd want to do with HTML. So how does a browser see a web page? To know how to change the content of an HTML document, you need to know how a browser interprets the HTML code and then apply styling to it. First, the browser will receive the page as HTML code, and Then it will read it from top to bottom, one line at a time. Each page on a website can be seen as a separate document. Next, the browser will create a node map or model of the page, and then it'll store it in memory. The model shown here is a representation of basic page. Its structure is similar to a family tree. At the top of the tree is a document model, where everything is a branch off of it. Each of the boxes is known as a node. Each of these boxes is known as a node. Each node is another object representing elements, text, within those elements, and attributes. This is known as the DOM, or Document Object Model. You're going to get really familiar with the DOM. So just to recap, computers are just like aliens. The models use objects to represent nouns, and programmers use code that will be ran on events. Browsers use markup, such as HTML, to create a data model. To make pages interactive, use the DOM. That concludes this topic. I'll see you in the next video.